Okay. You're going to talk about liquor, so then Halsey will talk about liquor.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We thought that we would just give everyone a quick update on where things are at as far as negotiations. Since everyone's asking, we thought we would do it all at one time. So coming into this session, Republicans' top priority was permanent ongoing tax relief. Our understanding is the tax conference committee has been working, making very good progress, might even be close to wrapping up. What Republicans brought to the table was exactly what that priority was: permanent ongoing tax relief. Number one, we want full elimination of Social Security taxes. We believe now is the time to provide seniors with this much-deserved tax relief. Of course, number two would be an income tax reduction. We think it's important to provide hardworking Minnesotans more money in their pockets every single paycheck, week after week, month after month, year after year. The other thing that we've asked the conference committee to look at is some property tax relief. So that's another thing that the tax conference committee is looking at. Another priority this session has been public safety. At a time when violent crime is absolutely out of control and violent crime is at record rates, we feel it is incredibly important to provide funding for more police officers. We know more good cops on the streets results in less crime. We also think it's important to hold violent criminals accountable for their actions. If someone breaks the law, there should be consequences. It's very simple. Now, looks like we have a storm warning there. We're very disappointed. The Republicans, the Senate has made a global offer when it comes to public safety, and the response that we got from Democrats is they don't want to talk about law enforcement. Are you kidding me? At a time when violent crime is absolutely out of control, the Democrats want to take law enforcement off the table? That is not acceptable for us. Absolutely not acceptable. We will continue to support the men and women of law enforcement. Another area that we're really fighting for, it's kind of a crisis situation that we're hearing about right now, is nursing homes, long-term care providers, and disability service providers. They're facing potential permanent closures, and we have put forward a proposal that would help save these long-term care providers and disability service providers, and I'm going to turn it over to Karen to talk, Senator Housley, to talk more about that.
Thanks, Jeremy. We are in a huge crisis right now, and you know I've been talking about this for quite a few years, and now we are really at a crunch time because we've got at least 40 providers that are going to be closing their doors, especially in greater Minnesota. You're going to have our senior citizens with no place to live unless we can get some help to our long-term care facilities. So we are running out of time. We are running out of time, and we're at the table and we want to get these things done, but we need to have the Democrats come to the table with us. Like Senator Miller said, when it comes to tax relief, I just got another text from a constituent and said, are you guys ever going to get rid of the Social Security tax? And I'm like, we're trying. We are there. We're sitting here waiting for them to agree to this, and yet we're still waiting. And again, Senator Miller talked about education, and the number one issue is literacy and cross-subsidy. We've got that. We've got it right there on the table, and the Democrats aren't agreeing to it. And then again, public safety, to be taking that off the table when we have a carjacking right here in front of the Capitol yesterday. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So we're here to get things done, and we are running out of time. So we are in a crisis.
So I think when it comes to public safety, I don't think, unless it just came in the last 5 minutes, we have yet to receive a global offer on public safety. The only thing we received was they don't want to talk about law enforcement again, which is not acceptable. So when we sort of came up with this framework agreement, we thought that Wednesday was probably the deadline in order to get all these bills done and to the reviser. And unfortunately, here we are on Thursday afternoon at 3:23 p.m. Thursday afternoon, 3:23 p.m. And many of these bills, especially the larger bills, they're still pretty far apart. So time is running out. Republicans have put forward proposals based on what we're hearing from the people of the state of Minnesota. We are trying to address the priorities that we're hearing from the people. And at the end of the day, Senate Republicans are focused on one thing, and that is getting good things done for the people of Minnesota. And the proposals that we have put forward address many of the concerns that we're hearing from the people, and we hope that Democrats will come to the table and work with us on these critically important issues.
So let's take the tax bill first, since you say it's about to wrap up. How much did you get for your income tax cuts, and what's going to be the new rate?
So that's a great question that I don't know the answer to yet, but the report that I received just a little while ago is that they are close to wrapping things up, but I have not seen the details of that yet, of what the final details
So
look like.
leadership wasn't involved in any of that?
So we told you guys on Monday that we have instructed our chairs and conference committees to work together and try to reach agreements. If there are issues, leadership will step in. There may have been some guardrails in some of the issue areas. When it came to taxes, the Republicans were instructed to fight for full elimination of the Social Security tax, fight for an income tax reduction, and fight for property tax relief. Those were our three top priorities.
Will there be Walls checks or something under another name?
Again, not that I'm aware of, but we haven't seen the final report come back or the final spreadsheet, but I have heard that there's significant progress being made, and I have not heard anything related to any sort of rebate check to Minnesotans.
Mr. Leader, are you going to get less of a rate bottom bracket reduction than you had originally expected? I mean, is that kind of in the mix when this is all put together?
Well, the rate reduction that we proposed would not fit in the full tax deal. So, of course, what Republicans came forward with was reducing that lowest rate, that first tier, cutting it nearly in half, and we've proposed the full elimination of Social Security taxes. So doing both of those exactly the way that we had proposed would not fit in that target, but we can certainly do the full elimination of the Social Security tax, which is one of the things we're hearing about most from people across the state of Minnesota. We can do the full elimination along with an income tax reduction.
Are you going to get that out of the conference committee, Mr. Leader? Are you going to get that full reduction as well?
We sure hope so. We've been fighting for it for a number of years, and now's the time to get it done.
That's still out there, though, up in the air.
It's still a priority for Republicans.
Senators, I'm a glass half full kind of guy, and I would like to talk about successes, and we're not letting Senator Housley get away without talking about the liquor bill today, please. So could you react to the conference committee report?
Well, we're going into conference committee in 4 minutes to vote on that. I think it is a big win for our small breweries. We've been fighting for almost 8 years to free the growler, and we came to an agreement. All the stakeholders have been meeting for years, and I'm very happy to announce that the cap limit is now 150,000 barrels instead of 40,000 barrels. So all of our small breweries across the state can now. We won't be the last state in the country that's not allowed to sell growlers. So I'm happy. I'm really happy about that. And I think the rest of the state, there's a lot of other little liquor provisions in the conference committee report that I think Minnesotans will be happy with the cocktail rooms at the distilleries, and our resorts now aren't limited to just selling 3-2 beer. I think there's a lot of good things that I'm so glad all of the stakeholders finally came together and we can get that signed off and make that one of our successes this season, this session. But hopefully we can get the rest of these things that have been our priorities, the economy, the tax cuts, the public safety. Tom?
3.2, you're frustrated you can't get rid of that 3.2 beer?
It's not in the bill. Not getting rid of 3.2, but we got rid of 3.2 at our resorts. We will keep working on it.
Senator Housley, you were one of 3 green votes from your caucus on the conversion therapy vote earlier today. Why did you vote that way? And for Senator Miller, why is this a problem for other members in your caucus? I'd like to hear from both of you on that.
Sure. Yeah, there are some concerns. I think there's I think there are some areas where we could find agreement on this. Unfortunately, some folks aren't willing to come to the table and have those discussions, but right now, it's just not something that's ready in its current form, at least the form that was brought up today.
And I'm open to having the discussion. I want to have the discussion, so that's why I voted yes, just to have the discussion, but it didn't pass.
I'm going to go back just real quick to liquor, because this is an example of sort of a strong grassroots effort. We've been hearing from Minnesotans on some of these liquor-related items, free the growler. We've been hearing about that for a number of years, and I'm confident that this would not have happened without the strong grassroots efforts from the people of the state of Minnesota.
I'm not sure if you're talking about sports betting or not, but the Indian Gaming Association says they can't support the amendment that was put on the Senate bill. Does that mean it's essentially dead? The governor says he won't sign anything that doesn't have approval of them.
No, I think there's still opportunities for the stakeholders to come together. This is another issue that we're hearing about from the people, from Minnesotans. They want us to legalize sports betting here in Minnesota, and we've been encouraging the stakeholders to come together and try to find an agreement. When I say the stakeholders, I would say the three major stakeholders would be the tribes, the tracks, and the charities, and if we can find an agreement that all three of them support, I believe that we would have the votes to pass it off the Senate floor.
Has there been a rules committee hearing scheduled on that? I know it might have to stop there.
Not yet, but that can happen in short order.
On liquor, this is not a peace in the valley deal though, right? For 5 years of nothing, people can come back, the distillers can come back?
It's not anything that has been signed.
Okay.
And it's nothing that binds the legislature.
Right, and what do you say to the distillers who want to be able to sell real bottles of distill? If I understand this right, they still have to sell skinny bottles, right?
It's 750 milliliters. That's what was in the agreement, so they can, under this agreement.
I'm sorry, okay.
Yep.
Senator Miller, your standard bearer for governor tweeted yesterday that you guys should sign nothing. You should not agree to any spending bills. You should not agree to any tax bills. And he is urging, oh, you didn't know?
No, sorry, I
You left
don't.
the convention before he
Yeah, I don't follow. I haven't had much time to be on social media lately.
Senator Jensen won.
Oh, no, I knew that. I didn't hear who you said.
You know who you referenced.
I didn't know who you referenced.
Anyway, he said you guys should not pass anything, and he's urging his supporters to contact Republicans in the legislature to not do either any tax bills or any spending bills. Can you react to that?
Well, I respect him for his opinion, and again, at the end of the day, we're trying to get good things done for the people of the state of Minnesota, and we think at least the framework of the agreement that we put forward accomplishes that, and if we can get permanent ongoing tax relief for the people of the state of Minnesota, I think that's a great thing for the people.
Have your phones been ringing off the hook with people asking you to vote no?
No.
Is anything going to come together tonight, do you think? Any taxes or any other deals? I mean, I know the time is running short. Do you have a drop dead deadline Friday? Are you saying Friday to members?
At this point, the conference committees need to focus on areas of agreement. I've been saying that all week, but now is the time to focus on areas of agreement. If there's disagreement, it's not going to get done. There's not enough time. So the conference committee members should focus on areas of agreement, focus on things that we can get done, and hopefully we could make some significant progress in the next couple days.
Mr. Leader, forgive me, but that's what the Democrats are saying on public safety. And so the question is, given that, are you going to have to step in as leaders? How close are you to doing that?
Well, yeah, the leaders may have to step in on public safety. If Democrats aren't willing to talk about law enforcement and more funding for law enforcement, you're darn right I'm going to step in, because that is a top priority for Republicans. Public safety. We want to make our communities safer. It is a fundamental role of our government to keep people safe. And if we want our communities safe, if we want the people safe, we need to provide funding for more police officers, Because more good cops on the street results in less crime. We know that. And we need to hold violent criminals accountable for their actions. So if we need to step in on leadership, I'm ready to do so, and we're going to continue to support our police officers.
What's your timeline on that? Is that imminent to step in? I know, given how critical public
I'm
safety
ready.
is.
I'm here, ready to go.
Is the speaker ready to do?
They need to send us an offer. They have yet to send us a global offer.
That's not really stepping in, though, isn't it? I mean, stepping in would be, you call up Speaker Hortman and say, hey, Mariani's not doing his job, you and me, now let's do public
We've had
safety.
those conversations.
Have you talked about a special session?
The governor's been very clear, no special session, so we have, let me count them. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we can't pass bills on Monday, so we have 3.5 days to get this done. Time is running short. I'm hoping, though, if that tax conference committee can wrap up today or tomorrow, and then get that to the reviser, that could be the first bill that we get done.
So we could have a tax deal announced tonight.
I heard they're getting close. I don't know if anything will be announced tonight or tomorrow, but if they're getting close and we can get that wrapped up, that should be the first bill that we get passed. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.